Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's February 11th. This will be our chart listing for the day, and it's just more of the same today. Another trading range day with some, nice moves from one side to another. Um, the range is not quite as big as it was some of we've had lately. Still, the lows, most of the lows around 1810. Most of the highs around a little over 1830. So about a 20 something, which is a 20 points is a fairly large range, but I mean, we've had some, 50-point ranges lately, 40-point ranges. So this is small in comparison to some we've had, but still kind of more of the same, really. So, uh, but you can see we had a trend working up, one working down. We kind of went sideways here, and another one working up late in the afternoon. So I didn't mark anything after this late there. There was a chance to go long down here. I probably should mark it because it is before 2 o'clock. So I will go ahead and mark that one, so we can talk about it when we get there. I like that setup right there. Um, it's a little bitty tiny bar and you're so far away from the EMA. You really could have done the same thing here almost on this one, but you didn't quite have, well, I'm not sure if it was, let's just see. I didn't look at it like you quite had two measured legs yet. You can see if you use that, we didn't quite have the two measured legs. We were close, but not quite. And here we'd kind of overshot it. So that's the reason I like that one a little more. So, but if you really wanted to be aggressive, you probably might have taken this one here. We'll go ahead and circle. We'll talk about it when we get to it. But these failed breaks lowers generally make out some good trades. So, and even though we went lower a few times here, you can see most of the bounce and support came right around that 1810 area. So anyway, let's back out, talk about the trades, and wrap this week up. Okay, well, let's back out here, talk about our trades, and wrap it up. First trade I saw, generally I'll start marking trades about 7 o'clock. We were kind of going sideways at that point. We had a failed break lower here earlier, but we'd worked our way back into the range, or at least above the support is the way I was looking at it. And notice that you got a new high, you get a pullback first entry, pullback second entry. So you get a nice second entry long right off the support after that failed break lower. Plus you get a broader double bottom across there with this low here. So that's a great place to go long. Um, you could have just put a stop above, even though it's got a little bit of a red tick or so there. That's a fairly bullish type reversal bar. You could have just gone along with a stop, but since it didn't close on its high, this is one where I might let it break a little bit higher and drop a limit order, maybe right there at the high or a tick back in it just to see if I could get filled. And you could have gotten filled on this one, maybe a couple of three ticks back in it before it bounced. So nice second entry long there off the support area, just what you're looking for to get going. There's a second entry long here off the low. Uh, Notice this is a lower low than that one, so first entry pullback. There's a second entry long if you count off the lows, but that's a horrible signal bar, so I think you just got to skip that one. And then you make another new high here, and then notice what happens. Pull back first entry, pull back second entry, another nice reversal bar, and that pretty much sets your trend line. You really confirmed your trend line here. This just further confirmed it. Just go long right there. Another nice move. It's tempting. There's a little tick back and another entry right there, but it's right into the resistance. A little risky, so I didn't mark it. But this one just takes on off and makes another new high. And then you're pulling back here, first entry. There's actually a second entry here counting off the highs, pull back. First entry, pull back. Actually, the second entry is right there, technically. So this is really the second entry counting off the low, because notice your low, your first move up is your first entry, pull back second entry. But you bounced multiple times there. This is almost like a little breakout pullback long. There's some resistance across there. It ticked a couple of ticks higher and then pulls back. But that's a double test, really a triple test right across there of that trend line again. And what's usually going to happen? You're going to go the other side. So I like entering right there on that one. Um, and you really, this is one, I don't like the second entry because that's more of a neutral bar. I think you needed to wait on that one. So just to clarify that. And then we're coming, I meant to change this one to green. This one should be green. And the only reason is because it's a first entry, but there's a hidden second entry. Notice you're pulling, you come down, you go up, and then you make another leg down. So there's a hidden second entry there. Um, I'm a little leery of it because you didn't have a break of that trend line working down through there yet. Um, but it's pretty obvious this is a key entry point. It's a fairly bullish bar. So if you want to be a little bit aggressive, there's nothing wrong with taking that one. Again, there's a second entry right here, but you're going along right into those highs, and it's just a little suspect. It's, it did go lower first and turn and go right out the other side. So again, you might make it green, but I just think it's too risky because it's right into that previous high, and we're actually starting to get right in there where there was some previous resistance right across there. So, of course, you know where we're probably heading. We never tested this breakout area right here, and that's where prices are heading. So there's some reasons to consider that we're going to head there. And you can see that's right where we went to and made a double top and turned down. So it's pretty obvious. And this was a spike up in a channel here. Hopefully you saw this. I had a lady send me a couple of emails where she actually tried to go short. I think it was right here, and she couldn't figure out why she lost, but she didn't see this channel working up through here, and she thought we were going lower, and she's going short right into a key entry point, a well proven one all the way up. Anytime you see prices bouncing like that over and over and over, there's some reason, there's something there, and so she missed that, unfortunately. So, but this was a spike in channel working up. We never got a break and a retest, but you don't know that, so you got to be real careful in here. But a lot of times when you overshoot it like this, notice how we overshot the upper side of this channel twice, and sometimes you won't get a retest. You'll just get a big reversal and off it goes. So, but I was a little bit hesitant to go short right here until we got a trap of some kind. And notice this is a double top, so that's basically a new high. You can count as a new high, and then we pull back first entry. We pull back. There's a second entry. It fails. And look at that bar. It looked like it was going to take off, and then suddenly you get a big bearish reversal bar. I like that just to try to get a quick entry, figuring that with the overshoot, we're going to overshoot it that much, at least on this side, and get our break. And plus, we had this resistance up here that was a former breakout, so it could be another range day. And so I like that one. And it was a quick, easy scalp, but you just kind of started going sideways after that. And there's actually a failed second entry long. This is a double top here, so you could count that as another high. And there's a failed second entry right there, so it's tempting on that one. But it's right into that support. It does kind of like a breakout pullback short, so you might take that one being a little aggressive. But I think you were better off to wait and see if it came back and gave you another opportunity. It did. But look how big that bar is, and by the time you got a bearish bar, look how big it is. There's just no way to enter that properly. So you just got to be patient through here. And then guess what? You get another pull back to the trend line right here, and you get a nice bearish bar. This is one that I'd probably let it break lower here and drop a limit order in, or either I'd wait and let it break below the bearish bar. And again, there's a hidden second entry there. Note it goes up, comes back down, and goes up, and so it's kind of a hidden. So it's very similar to the one we marked right here. But that's why it's kind of I marked it as aggressive. It's the first entry. It's not a perfect signal bar. It's fairly bearish. It's just so big. So I made it green. And then you finally get your best setup right here. Notice the new low, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. Look at that bearish reversal bar right off that trend line. Closes on its low. That's a perfect setup. And look at it go. And you would have caught a runner on that one. And you could have ridden this till you got your break right into here. So one trade like that's a pretty good trade. And you get another pullback here. And this really is a double top here, so you could almost treat that because there's a new swing high here, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It doesn't really fail. You could treat that like a failed second entry long. There's some reasons to say, hey, I'd like to go long there. It's a key entry point more than anything, and that's where all your best moves come from. But anyway, needless to say, I made that one green. But when we kept going lower here, notice what happens. You're pushing down. There's a first entry, pull back, second entry. It doesn't break higher there, but it's still two legs down, and it comes back, and it's like a breakout pullback short. You treat it like a failed second entry long. Every time we've touched that trend line, we've had a great move down. So I like taking a chance on that one, especially since you figure we're going to test at least these lows and maybe this low. That's where prices are heading, and that turns out to be a pretty nice trade. Then you get another move up, pull back, and it tries to go higher. It traps people there. That's a second entry short. Notice the new low, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It's not a perfect signal bar, but you know you're going to retest these lows and probably this and maybe even go lower. But I'm looking for prices probably to bounce here, and nice move down, and we do find some resistance or some support there, but it pushes through briefly. Normally I would be looking for a possibility to ride this back to the EMA, but you don't get a very good setup bar. You're not that far away from the EMA. It hadn't moved that far. It's just kind of it's not a low risk kind of trade. So I think you just got to skip it. It's more high risk, and it's just not a very good setup. But notice the reversal pattern here. We push right through. We get a first entry. You pull back. You get a second entry. So this is a failed second entry short. But notice you never get a break above another bar until here. So really, you don't get a chance to enter in here. So, but even though we made a little higher low and another low there, and this is not a textbook failed second entry long short, you still can treat it the same way. But it's a little aggressive. It does bounce off the low. Since it's not textbook, I just marked it green. But it turns out you can tell they trap people because look how it shot off real quick and real fast. And then you actually had a break of this little channel working up right here, and you get another break here. So I don't really see a clear way to enter here. And I didn't like the short. Notice that you pushed up and then you made that little trap and turn. That's really bearish. It's so tempting to enter there, but you're still above the EMA, and generally when you come off the low, you're going to head to the other side. So you had to be real careful. You needed a good setup here to go short, and you never really get one. But it comes back down here, and notice you got the little channel here. You get a break, move to a new low, and look at that big bullish reversal bar right off that support area. So I like that one, and it actually pulls back again and gave you a second entry here, but everything's still above the EMA, so I didn't like that one. But when it broke higher again and turned down, it actually did not tick below right there, but it's bouncing right off the trend line right there. I like that to go long. And you still got plenty of room for these next resistance areas. So I like that one. Turns out to be a pretty good trade. You really just never get another good opportunity here. You're going up. You get your first break here. You don't get a perfect signal bar. You never get a second entry, so there's no entries there. Then you make a new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. And this is why you got to be careful taking what looks like a nice trade into the EMA, because it bounces. And it turns out to be a nice second entry long with a big bullish type reversal bar. And I really thought we'd go the other side this time, and no, we're just really going sideways here in a tighter channel. And you get a little trap right here, and it looked like it probably fooled some people, but it's not a very good signal bar, and it's not a perfect trap. It's just a second entry short counting off this double top high here, which is like a new high. So it's just not a very good setup. And again, you're still above the EMA, so you don't want to risk that. But it does turn out to be a good trade. But again, that's one you got to just kind of say, hey, it's just not a good setup. I got to watch it go. But notice the double top here. That's a new high, pull back first entry, pull back. So there's a second entry right here that fails, and it's right off that trend line. So I like that one. Easy scalp, nothing more, and you're just still going sideways. It's just like the market has no, I mean, you can see it swinging both sides of the EMA here, so you can clearly trade this both ways. And notice what happens here. You get another failed second entry long. This turns out to be like a little trading range here. I don't have the line on there, but you can see the resistance. And you get a big bearish reversal bar off right here. Just go short right there. And it's a second entry short and a failed second entry long. So there's multiple reasons to like going short, but when prices break below that bar. And this one takes off. You actually would have caught runners here. And notice you get a failed. This is like a little breakout pullback short right here, but it's a failed. Notice the double top new high pullback. First entry, pullback. It's a failed second entry where you would probably catch a lot of people trying to catch the lows there. And when it fails, I'd be looking for a measured leg down if it goes lower. And if you took that, and notice you got about a perfect measured leg down. It went a couple of ticks further actually. So I like that little breakout pullback trap right there. And then we talked about this earlier. You treat this like a failed break lower. You got a little bitty bar. It's a good bit away from the EMA. Everyone that's broke lower like this has bounced back up. This one would have only been good for a scalp, but it was still an easy scalp. You figured to come back to the EMA and probably back to test the breakout area. And it turns down again. And now you got more than a measured leg down, and you got that little bitty, I mean, that's like a 3 or 4 tick bar, so it's very low risk. You're way away from the EMA. You won't stay away from there very long. So I thought it was a nice little setup there. And that one, and guess what? If you caught this, you could have ridden this all the way back up to the top with a runner. I think we already talked this about 20 points, and that actually broke lower. So let's just say you got out very conservative. That's 24 points right there. If you caught one runner. So, you know, people are always asking me about the runners, and the runners can really change your math. So you don't have to have nearly as high a win percentage when you can catch those runners. When you can get them both, you really do well. When you get a high win percentage and catch a few runners here and there, you can really do well with this. So that's really about it. And that's going to wrap up our weekend. It's just been kind of status quo, up and down on these range days. You can see this is the divider. So this was the overnight. We traded all down all the way right into the open and kind of traded up. Looks like we got about a little more than a 50% correction, and then we were just stuck in between the rest of the day. It really got kind of antsy right in here. I like it better when you got a clear trend up, a clear trend down, and a clear trend up. Here you didn't have that. You're going much more sideways. But anyway, if you use those short-term trends and you're just patient, you still find a lot of trades. I mean, there were a lot of trades before 10:30. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before 10:30. That's just counting the red and the blue ones. If you count the green ones, there's 4 more there. So pretty good trading day. And the afternoon was very similar. So still a really good trading day. So hopefully you had a good trading day, and I'm going to wrap it up. This is going to wrap our week up. I'll probably be taking off tomorrow. So we won't be back till Monday. But have a great weekend, and we'll be back again to do it Monday. But I'm done for today. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.